Newsx Sunday Guardian Roundtable. Well, it's been an year into the online education, what with COVID still here and living in a COVID continuous world. So I thought it's a time to take a look and take a stock at actually where our students stand after 1 year of online and internet education, or not going to schools, not being surrounded by the four classrooms. Not just the students, but also the teachers. What do they feel is the impact on the education levels? Are our students better off for it? Have they learned something more? The world of online, is this a pattern that is here to stay? Or in fact, there's been a huge detriment in their learning. You're already seeing the jokes doing the rounds on WhatsApp saying, oh, if someone, makes a gaffe, oh, he belonged to the COVID batch, it's the COVID year. Is that a fair something to say? Or is the kids actually, they've learned something else? They may not have stuck to the syllabus learning, but they've learned something else. So that is something that we are going to be discussing on the roundtable today. Joining me is Manju Balasubramaniam. She is the principal of DPS Bangalore North. There's Meenakshi Gupta. She teaches the class 11th and 12th at the Montfort School in New Delhi. Anjali Ragveer, she is an education counselor, specializes in helping students with the college admissions abroad, especially, and she's also the founder of Writer's Key and an author of children's books. And Vikas Kakwani, he is the founder and CEO of the Anytime Anywhere Schools. He specializes in online education, which is something really the need of the hour, really. But Manju, I'll begin with you. How has it been the last 1 year? Do you feel, as I said, are the students better off for it? As a teacher, what is your perspective?
As teachers, we are better off. We are better teachers and better learners. I don't think teachers have done as much learning as they did in this last 1 year. And the fear of technology is in the past. Teachers are very comfortable with technology. And this year, they are prepared for an online year. Last year, they weren't. But this year, they are. And so they are looking at bettering their online classes. And one of the biggest areas that they're working now on is robust assessments. As for students, they had the world at their fingertips. They were learning from the best teachers across the world, not only in academics and in school work, but across. And I think students developed a lot of 21st century skills of using ICT better, of collaborating with people, young people across the world on projects, or within the country in projects, or, working with technology and teachers. So I think it was a learning experience. It was a very good learning experience.
What is your takeaway? Are you missing the four classrooms, or you think this is a new way? I mean, given a choice, which one would you choose? Let me put you in a tough spot.
That me?
Meenakshi.
Okay. Certainly, this year has been very, whatever 1.5 years has been very different. Technology has opened the doors of knowledge to all of us. Now, online teaching has two sides to it. The pragmatic side, yes, we've been able to continue with the teaching. Otherwise, I don't know what would have happened if we did not have technology at all. It has been able to connect people irrespective of the geographical boundaries. It saves time, and everybody has been learning. Learning has been at the root of this last 1.5 years, whether it is students or teachers. I have never seen teachers learn as much. They've been consistent learners everywhere, but this last 1 year has taught us so much that there's no equation to it. But I think, when it comes to classroom teaching, I certainly miss it. There is a downside to online teaching. The connect is missing, absolutely missing. There is, you find social isolation among the children. They need peers around them to interact with. Technology-driven connection is very different from when they meet in person. The competitive spirit is also marred, like when they are just doing online teaching or online studying. And there's so much screen time, it is affecting their health and eyes. Physical activities have gone down, especially in the senior classes. Mornings they have school and evenings they have coaching classes. So I think they're poor kids, they're just sitting glued to the TV the screen right from 8 a.m. till 9 p.m. in the evening. There is no physical activity of any kind. So if this continues, I don't know, this is something which we can use as a supplement, but not as a permanent way of going about things. This is not, at least my take is that we need to have in-person classes. There's so many behavioral issues which are coming in children. The self-motivated ones, see, technology gives you an option. You have to do, like, the motivated ones will take the best out of it. And the less motivated ones who need to be constantly coerced and pushed, for them, it is getting very, very difficult. And for the teachers to handle them is also becoming difficult, because by the time we get to know about the behavioral problems, things are far too ahead already. So to snip the problems in the bud is not easy. And a lot of issues are coming up. You can see a lot of addiction to screen time. People are just wasting their time on screen. They log on to the classes and they're not actually attending classes. So these kind of problems are there with the average children. The motivated ones will be very well connected. Then digital divide. So many people don't have access to technology. If they have access also, connectivity is a big issue. In cities like Delhi, there is an issue with connectivity. So I can imagine what must be happening in the remote areas. So
let me bring in Vikas. I think he'll have a different point of view on this.
Yeah, I know it's very interesting. And the thing is that I'm used to listening to all these things. When we launched Ask Vidyalaya, the Anytime New Year School, about 4 years back, that time, of course, there was no COVID, right? And the reason why we launched this online school, and we are, arguably maybe India's first online school, was because there were these large segment of students, as per the NEP, which got released last year, almost 25% of the student population across the country were not going to school because of various reasons. Right? So we said that if they are not able to go to the school, can we take the school to them? So that was the whole premise of creating an online school. And there are very genuine reasons because of which students are not able to go to school. And now we all know, because nobody is going because of COVID. But at one point of time, there were genuine reasons like, firstly, there are not enough schools in our country. So I met these girls in small villages who had to travel 10 kilometers away in another village where a secondary school existed, because there was no secondary school in their.
But all things being equal, what do you feel? That should everybody have online education?
What Miss Meenakshi said, it reminded me of two things. One was this Dilip Kumar movie which came called Naya Daur. Okay, when there was a competition between a tanga and a bus, in which the tanga wins. That doesn't happen, but it actually happened in that movie, right? And then it also reminded me of the entire computerization which happened in the 90s, when the government servants were actually on the streets protesting against computerization, right? But we all know what actually happened, right? So whenever there is a change in anything that we see, there is always resistance, right? But the thing is that we should understand why that change is happening. Now, the objective of online school is actually to bridge the gap. See, there is this, I've been a business guy my entire life, and I've done a lot of sales and marketing. And there is a product or a service called education. And there is this large 25 crore student population which needs to be educated, right? So now there is this private school network which is helping some students to study. And then there's a government school channel which is helping some students study. But still, both these two channels together are not able to solve the entire education problem in the country. So there is this third option, which is a technology option, which is ensuring that at least people who are not getting any education can get schooling right from the comforts of their home. So I'll give you another example. We always had shops near our houses where we can go buy our groceries. Why do we need an Amazon? Why is Amazon such a large company in the world? Okay. The reason is that Amazon actually creates equality, right? And I'll draw a parallel with education in that. Today, if you are sitting in a small town in Bihar, you can order the same Nike shoes that you can get in Mumbai on Amazon, right? In a pre-Amazon days, somebody sitting in Bihar could not even dream of getting a Nike shoes because he had to travel to, say, Calcutta or a Delhi.
Okay, so I get the comparison. Yeah, so you're seeing the same access to the same.
Now it is happening to education, right? In education, there is equality. Earlier, it was by fate that you were being born in a family or in a city. So if I'm born in a upper middle class family in Bombay or Delhi, then I will get good education, whether I like it or not, whether I want it or not. But if I'm born in a small village, then I have to struggle to get education. Today,
so it's level the playing field. Let me get Anjali in also. Until you heard all the sides of the story. the argument. But there is more, I kind of disagree with Vikas, but there's more to education than just the learning. You know, there's also the being with other students. I don't know, Anjali, what is your take?
So my take is what Vikas is saying is it's a great equalizer. We've talked about that before. It definitely is a great equalizer for the 25 crore, which is not being educated, a certain section of it. I think it's bringing that. But we can't discount the follies of online education along with that. So I think to me, the big hole that it's creating is demotivation among students. You're actually robbing the children who are used to a sort of, the certain advantages of going to an in-person school. So they're so demotivated. And so you're going to have an entire generation. It's going to take a while for us to cope with that. And how do we need to sort of, motivate them again to study? And I'm finding that, the same student who was motivated a year ago is completely hitting Zoom fatigue, online schooling fatigue, and it's very hard to get them channelized once again. So while I agree with Vikas that maybe, India is so vast, but I don't think the problems are the same for a small, a village which has absolutely no access. And therefore, this becomes the great equalizer. But for people who have the opportunities, the problems are manifold and very, very different. So I don't think you can, you have to separate the two. Yeah.
Manju, you wanted to, Meenakshi, I'll come to you first. Let me get Manju back in. So Manju, what is your take after hearing this? Yes, it is a great leveler. So there is something in favor of online education.
I think I agree with Meenakshi because as a regular teacher in a classroom, we need social connect with children. Children need one another for things more than academics. You learn all your life skills when you are together. And to be cooped up in your room, in your home is not the world. You seeing the world on your screen, everything virtually is not experiencing the world. So it is important for us to come back as soon as things are safe to a physical space where children can learn, because the learning in school is for life, for a lifetime. So I completely empathize. There is not the personal connect that happens between children or between the teacher and the child. While on the other hand, for some of my children, which I mentioned last time as well, that my children with special needs, some of them have found this to be very, very supportive because they now have been able to connect with their teacher personally without the rest of the class ridiculing them. So for them, it's been a great booster of self-esteem and self-image. So that's one advantage. But there, a lot of my children have written in, like Meenakshi said, they don't find the online class to be competitive. They're losing that, and especially the ones in 10th and 12th. So I think the learning from this shouldn't be gone. When we come back to school in in the physical space, some amount of technology needs to be there, but I think we should come back.
If we take a look at 1 year of online education, before I come to you, Vikas, Meenakshi, you'd wanted to say something?
I do agree with a little of what Vikas says, that where education is not reaching, this could be a medium to take education there. But when we talk of school is an institution which is not just academics. School teaches you so much more. It teaches you discipline. It teaches you attentiveness. It teaches you, regularity. So how can you compare the two things? So online education, maybe it has its positives, but you cannot substitute it for school teaching. It is not a way. We can complement school teaching with online teaching, use technology, harness it to our advantage. But this is not a substitute. There is no connect whatsoever. And I think, as Manju said, life skills can be taught in school. You can't do it virtually all the time. There'll be very limited skills that we can impart. School has so much more to give other than just academics. And when we talk of online education, certainly the life skills are missing.
That's your challenge. Apart from being a great equalizer, I got that point, the level playing field. What are the other advantages of online education?
So I had had to hold myself a lot while I was listening to everybody, saying all these things. So firstly, I'm not saying that, online education will replace existing schools. Existing schools have definitely got there's a reason why we study in a group, because there's a reason of that social connect we have been talking about. Now, however, the world is changing right now. When I think of my childhood, there was no internet, there was no computer, there was no technology. The whole idea of online school actually came in when connectivity and internet and devices ecosystem have started coming together. So when we were children, we used to actually go out and play. Now, you can't even imagine the size of the e-games industry that is there in the world today. So the kids actually are online and playing together, and even, or why even e-games? Look at a Facebook or an Instagram or a Snapchat. Today, kids are actually digital natives. They live in a digital world, and their social interaction is more online than what we could even think of. We are resisting it because we are digital. We are not digital natives. We are digital migrants. We have been taught the digital things, and that's why we kind of resist. It's very simple, similar to when I was young. TV actually entered in India, and we were told, don't watch too much TV. It will impact your eyesight and all those things. I never had any problem with any eyesight in my entire. It's just that resistance to think. But you are absolutely right. Both have to coexist, because there is a way. Both of them complement each other in some manner. However, I have something which I think Meenakshi mentioned about kids who are not paying attention and who are doing something else. I have to say these people existed even in pre-online school era also. If there are 40, 50 kids sitting in a classroom, there is no way a teacher will pay equal attention to all the 50, 60 kids. I know I was always a backbencher, sleeping at the back, mostly, and would study on my own, right? And there's a very nice book which has just come out called When, by Daniel Pink, I think, and he has talked about people being either larks or owls. See, the problem with our current system is that it is very regimental. The current school system, that everybody has to get up in the morning, go to school. Now, if I am not at my peak in the morning, then I will be sleeping in my entire class, right? Whatever you might do, but because mornings don't suit me, for example, then I would not be able to study in the mornings. But if there is an online class happening in the night, I would be at my best in terms of studying in the night. So I think people are different. Similarly, online schooling allows you to pace your learning. A teacher comes into the class, take a lecture, and she goes, right? And then it is on the kids to learn on their own. So that's why a lot of them go in the evening and take tuitions. Right? Okay. So whereas this actually allows them to learn at their own pace, and online education also gives you options. You can watch videos, you can listen to audio, you can read, you can do whatever. So there's a lot of digital medium that you can use, and depending upon my adaptability or my capability of picking up from various different medium, I can choose how I want to learn.
Okay.
That is how it helps.
So more choice, you get to be your own, set your own pace and your own timetable, really, Anjali.
A lot of freedom, right? A lot of freedom.
I don't know whether the teachers will agree whether it's a good thing or a bad thing, but Anjali, what is your take? And also, you don't see this work from home creeping into work from school from home is not a good thing, or is it a good thing? Anjali.
I think Vikas has made some great points, but I think it's a very insular way of looking at it, if I may say so. I think it's the school system is really important, because just as you're saying that there are people who don't function so well with, not being morning people or whatever, but it teaches them a certain discipline. It teaches you to, how will you teach social skills online? How will you the motivation that you get from seeing your peers? How will you do group work? How will you exhibit leadership qualities? How will you participate in various things which make you grow on many fronts? So I think while online does have, like you mentioned, certain benefits, but those benefits they can avail after school hours also. it's not restricted to only online schooling. They could go back to certain lessons, and maybe that's a hybrid model that maybe we should think about. But I don't think totally replacing in-person school is the solution to it all. Otherwise, I think it would really be taking away. We would somewhat become much more insulated than we already are. And to your point about being digital natives, I agree they're digital natives, but they also crave social company. They may be doing that as sort of a default of their generation, but that is not to take away and I'm seeing this with children, that they crave the social company. So while they may have 2,000 people as their friends on Facebook, you do need that core group of 8 or 10 people to sustain you through life. And through your entire school life. So I think, you can't take it in isolation. There's no one argument to say, okay, yeah, that is the perfect solution and this is not. It has to be seen in combination. You cannot replace in-person school, according to me, at all.
That's the thing. The hybrid system, I think, works. For those who have no option, no access, or for whatever reasons, then of course online is a great boon. But for those who have options and choices, then the hybrid model that Anjali talked about is the ideal one, isn't it? Manju?
Yeah, it is ideal. I'd just like to tell Vikas that, when I was asking my students this morning what they thought, and they did tell me the autonomy that online teaching offers us is tremendous. The pace of learning, that is, differentiated instruction that was spoken about all the time, was really happening. And the aspect here is, Priya, that self-motivated teachers and self-motivated learners made the best use of this. But where this self-motivation was not there and the home environment was not conducive, both for the teacher and the student, things went bad to us. And that is a gap that has widened so much that we are worried about when those children come back to school, how we're going to handle it. So, there's so many aspects to this. And I hear from friends of mine who are in government schools that sometimes the amount of training that has been forced upon the teachers has also not led to learning for the teachers. They've just switched on, like the children, the screen's on, and they've been somewhere else. And so that amount of training didn't help anybody. So I think it's been in many cases, an overdose, but in many ways a learning. And I think finding the right balance will be the way forward.
Always is. But Meenakshi, how do you keep the students' attention? I mean, there must be 30, 40 kids in the class. How do you make sure that everyone, the backbenchers, are not sleeping like Vikas did in his school days?
Yeah, basically, actually, it depends on the teacher. So the teachers have to work hard with the less motivated ones. The self-motivated ones will do things on their own. It's not a problem with them. It is the less motivated ones who are pushed and coerced and encouraged to come up in front. And we have to constantly find ways, innovative ways to bring them up, give them different kind of activities, involve them in different kinds of work. And, there are various ways of doing it. Give them different kinds of assignments, talk to them, question them. Sometimes half the time we won't get answers, but we if we give up, then I can't blame the students. So it is the teachers who actually motivate and encourage the students to come up. So if you
models, I'm out of time. So quickly, Vikas, your reaction to all that has been said so far.
Okay, so this is again not something new that I've heard. I think it is a very classical, maybe I'm repeating, resistance to change. If you go back in history, the classrooms that we all have witnessed and what all you are talking about came in existence just 100 years back. I think the only reason why a group study came in existence is because in those days there was no other way to actually create identical people, right? So for example, when Britishers were ruling the country, they wanted people to manage the back end, the entire office staff. So they had to ensure that everybody were trained in the same manner so that they can replace each other. And I think that model has been carrying on, and if you go back further in time, you'll realize that the way the studies used to get imparted was through the Gurukul system, where kids were actually brought in from various places, and they would be given open space to go and learn whatever they wanted to learn.
I want the last word.
Yeah.
You want the last one, Anjali will, and I'm stopping the show now. So we are totally out of time. Anjali.
Connect cannot be substituted by Tech Connect.
Actually.
I think it is. Okay, one last question to all of you. How much time all of you spend on your mobile phones in a day? Not less than 4 or 5 hours. It is how things happen. It is how we change. Today you don't go and visit people. Today you talk to them on phone, do video calls with them on phone. We don't realize it's a frog in a hot water kind of a syndrome. Over a period of time, we accept change.
No, I totally get you. Yeah. I mean, I totally understand where he's coming from, that, there are such big leaps that are going to take place. But I think we should be mindful of how the collateral damage is going to be the mental health of these children. And that is what we need to sort of, every change comes at some cost. So are we willing to take on that cost is my question.
Every year, Anjali, sorry, Priya, every year 15 lakh people die on Indian roads. Do we stop cars? Whenever there is a technological change that happens, it brings in certain advantages, certain disadvantages. We have to just see that whether advantages outweigh the disadvantages. If they do,
have to go side by side.
No, if the advantages outweigh the disadvantages, only then something survives.
Okay, so hybrid model is, I think, what everybody is saying. It should work not just online and not just classroom, but maybe a bit of both. One supplements the other. Thank you all for this conversation, and stay safe, and hope to see you soon sometime soon.
Thank you.
For more such videos, subscribe to the NewsX YouTube channel, hit the bell icon.